Milyong-milyong mga tao ngayon sa bansang Amerika ang nagpapanik at nag-evacuate na dahil po sa sobrang laking bagyo na tatama mga sangkay na ayon po sa kanila, hindi daw po ito mapredict ng maayos ng mga eksperto dahil sa sobrang lakas. Hello guys, this is me, Sangkay Janjan. Eto, matindi itong pag-uusapan natin ngayon. Patungkol po ito mga sangkay sa higanting bagyo, no? Na marami po ngayon ako nakikitang post mula po sa social media tungkol po dito na sobrang lakas daw po nito, na kahit po yung mga scientist, mga weather updates na nilalabas ay hindi na po klaro dahil sa sobrang lakas nitong bagyo. Okay guys, bago tayo mag-umpisa, pakisubscribe po muna yung ating YouTube channel. Tayo po ay 1.3 million subscribers na dito sa YouTube. Kung ikaw ay hindi pa po nakakapag-subscribe, click the subscribe down below. Alright? Sa mga nanonood po sa Facebook, i-follow nyo po yung ating Facebook page. Okay guys, eto, ang balita. Hurricane Milton forces millions to evacuate. Doon po ito sa Florida, sa bansang Amerika.
We are watching Hurricane Milton very closely at this hour on its ominous path toward Florida. Late today, back up to a Category 5 now with winds up to 165 miles an hour. Now one of the strongest hurricanes ever recorded in the Gulf. Tonight, millions are now under evacuation orders across Florida. Authorities warning them to get out now. President Biden calling it a matter of life and death. And at this hour, Hurricane Milton is a monster storm. You can see they're about 480 miles from Tampa. The eye is expected to make landfall
Yan
somewhere.
sa mga sangkay, oh. Sobrang laking bagyo. At kahit po yung mga eksperto, hindi na po nila hindi po nila gaano ma-predict kung gaano kalakas ito. Basta ang inilabas po nila, aabot daw po ito papalo sa Category 5 at isipin nyo kung gaano kalakas yan.
Where in the Tampa Bay area. Of course, this will still wobble a bit in these final hours, set to slam ashore late tomorrow night, right into the early morning hours of Thursday morning, right in the middle of the night, with a record storm surge as high as...
So mga bukas po ang bagsak nitong bagyo mga sangkay. So, mag-update po tayo dito sa YouTube. Anyway, shoutout nga pala sa lahat ng mga solid sangkay. Kung isa ka sa mga solid sangkay, mag-comment ka po sa ibaba ng hashtag solid sangkay kasama po ang inyong lugar. Alright, tuloy tayo.
15 feet. It could be the first direct hit in Tampa from a major hurricane in more than 100 years. But landfall, as I mentioned, could shift right up to the last minute, and much of the state remains on high alert tonight. A team of hurricane hunters witnessing the force of Milton first.
Ito mga sangkay. Ito naman, ito sila, mga mga hurricane hunter. Ang ginawa po nila mga sangkay, pinuntahan po nila yung ibabaw nitong bagyo. Itong hurricane na sobrang lakas.
And flying into the eye wall to collect data rocked by severe turbulence.
A local emergency currently exists.
And then the warnings today. Police there in Treasure Island, just outside Tampa Bay, driving through neighborhoods with emergency warnings.
Okay. Ayan naman po mga sangkay, nag-iikot na po yung mga kapulisan doon sa lugar na ito, mga sangkay, doon sa Amerika. Sinasabihan na po yung mga tao na umalis na, mag-evacuate na kasi delikado. Hindi daw po kakayanin talaga.
Urging people to evacuate now. And look at this tonight, bumper-to-bumper traffic for miles on I-75. This is near Naples.
Grabe, tingnan nyo gaano karami mga sangkay. Nag-evacuate na po sila ngayon dahil po sa takot na baka madali po sila nitong napakalakas na bagyo.
Right here, the outer bands of the hurricane
So ayan,
arrive tomorrow
yan ang
after.
ebidensya mga sangkay na nagpapanik na sila kasi tatama na po ito ilang oras mula ngayon. Ang pagkakaalam ko bukas na po siguro ito tatama mga sangkay umamayang gabi.
Noon, the storm surge right there in Naples could be as high as 8 feet, again up to 15 feet possible in Tampa, which would be a record. Long lines tonight at gas stations, more than 1,300 Florida stations running out of gas. Some tanker trucks racing to refill them. Those trucks are now getting an escort from state police.
Grabing panic ang nagaganap pala ngayon sa Amerika.
Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z is standing by with the new forecast just in from the Hurricane Center. But we begin with Whit Johnson in Tampa with the emergency preparations unfolding right now.
Tonight, mandatory evacuations on both coasts of Florida. Highways jammed. Millions heeding the calls to get out of Hurricane Milton's path before it's too late.
Alam nyo, ito nga ang sinasabi ko sa inyo ngayon mga sangkay. Nakaraan ko pa to itinuturo, actually, ilang taon na pong tinuturo natin itong climate change. No? Na sobrang tindi na po talaga ng nararanasan ngayon ng ating planeta because of climate change. At ito po yung ebidensya mga sangkay na totoo yung mga pinagsasasabi natin. Di ba nga po, natatawag pa nga po tayo noon na gumagawa lang po, daw po ng fake news. But tingnan nyo mga sangkay, bansang Amerika, nagpapanik. Nag-evacuate ang milyon-milyon. Bakit? Dahil nga po dito sa napakalakas na bagyo ng mga scientist mismo ang nagsasabi na dahil po sa climate change, malalakas na po talaga ngayon ang mga bagyo. Kaya wag na po tayo magtaka. Bansang Amerika, kung ang US nakakaranas ng ganito, how much more ang Pilipinas? Diba?
Tampa's airport already deserted. Orlando's packed, set to close tomorrow. Authorities filling Tropicana Field with cots, a base camp for first responders.
Ito, mga sangkay, nag-evacuate. Medyo social lamang po sila kaysa sa atin, mga sangkay. Pero ito po yung evacuation center nila. Ayan, Diyan magpupuntahan ng marami mga sangkay.
Base camp for first responders. Governor DeSantis mobilizing some 8,000 National Guard troops.
This is probably the largest National Guard mobilization in advance of a storm in Florida history.
The monster hurricane strengthening back into a Category 5 in the Gulf. Hurricane hunters jolted by extreme turbulence.
Grabe itong mga to mga sangkay. Alam nyo, pag may bagyo, yan pong ginagawa nila. Pinupuntahan po nila yung ibabaw para makakuha po ng data.
As they flew into Milton's eye wall. A storm taking aim at the Tampa metro area, home to more than 3 million people. And
Ito mga sangkay, tingnan nyo yan po yung paghahanda nila, yung mga kabahayan nila, dinidikitan po ng mga matitibay na kahoy. Yung bubong po, nilalagyan ng mga, kung ano pa mga matitibay na pwedeng ilagay, mga sangkay. Just in case, hindi mahagip yung kanilang bahay. Pero wala, nasisira pa rin mga sangkay.
hasn't seen a direct hit from a major hurricane in more than 100 years.
Say you're in a single-story home, 12 feet is above that house. So if you're in it, basically that's the coffin that you're in.
Many of the streets here in Tampa are still lined with debris. All of this left over from Hurricane Helene, which came with a record storm surge of up to 8 feet in some places. But if you take a look above from our drone camera, you could just imagine what could happen to these homes with a surge nearly twice as high.
It was above the baseboard.
Tani Tahirai just finished gutting parts of his home after Helene.
This is what's left.
This is what's left out of the house. I was able to salvage.
Now forced to evacuate again with his wife and 3 children.
They're kids. This is their safety, right? This is when they come for safety. So when that's threatened, they're gonna cry, and not just because of those toys or clothes or their favorite shoes, but.
Grabe, ito pa, may video pa dito mga sangkay ng preparation nila.
Millions are fleeing the path of Hurricane Milton, the worst storm to hit the Gulf Coast of Florida in 100 years. The unprecedented exodus is being driven by dire warnings.
If you choose to stay in one of those evacuation areas, you're going to die.
Grabe.
Wow. The president canceled an overseas trip and is joining calls to evacuate.
It's a matter of life and death, and that's not hyperbole. It's a matter of life and death.
Neighborhoods are becoming ghost towns.
Grabe, Naging ghost town po yung paligid mga sangkay dahil nag-alisan na po yung mga tao dyan para lamang po isalba yung kanilang mga sarili.
The expected storm surge is terrifying. Look at this.
We want everyone to know if they
Yung mga sangkay, yung storm surge, aabot daw po ng 9 feet. So, ang lala nito, lagpas pa po sa tao, mga sangkay. Tingnan nyo ang mangyayari dyan. Noon, nakikita lamang po natin ito sa mga video, mga sangkay, na mga movie, science fiction. But right now, guys, realidad na po ito na nagaganap sa ating mundo dahil po sa climate change.
are in an evacuation zone, listen to local officials and leave when ordered to do so.
Grabe.
But fleeing isn't easy.
5 gas stations, no gas.
28-year-old Ashley Harding and her husband are staying put in her home in Sarasota with their 3 children. You've decided to hunker down and wait out the storm.
Okay. Eto, tingnan po natin yung mga... Sabi dito mga sangkay na nag-post, this is scary. Kasi nakarampa po ito pinopost, no? Marami pong nagpo-post. Kasi paparating na nga raw po yung napakalakas na bagyo. This is scary. They said, this is the biggest hurricane they ever had on Earth. And they are currently bumper to bumper and out of gas. They have about 48 hours before it hit land. It's so sad because everybody ain't got the money to just pack up and leave. The people with kids. So kasi kung papansinin niyo mga sangkay, kung gaano karami itong nag-evacuate dito, sobrang dami. Ayan o. Kaya sabi po dito, hindi naman po lahat talagang mapepera sa Amerika mga sangkay na makakaalis kagad. Nagkakaubusan na nga po ng gas. Paano yung mga maiiwan doon? Grabe. Ito naman mga sangkay, ito, basahin po natin. About sa storm ito Hurricane Milton just underwent one of the fastest rapid intensifications ever seen in the Atlantic. It is now a catastrophic Category 5 storm with 175 miles per hour winds. Heading for Florida, not a single weather model predicted the storm would strengthen this quickly. So sabi po dito, this is not normal. This is a climate emergency. Hindi na po talaga ito normal, mga sangkay. Anong nangyayari ngayon? Lumalala na po ang sitwasyon ng ating planeta. At kung sa Pilipinas, may mga nararanasan po tayong bagyo na akala natin yun lang po ang pinakamalakas. But guys, sad to say, hindi pa po yun. May climate change po tayo. Kung ang US, mga sangkay, ganun po ang kanilang preparation ngayon, sana dito din po sa Pilipinas. No, every time na mayroon pong babala na ang mga eksperto patungkol po sa mga bagyo, alis na. Kung saan po yung pinakatatamaan, umalis na. Iligtas po ang pamilya at buhay. So, ito po ay nangyayari na because of climate change. Ibang-iba na po yung mga bagyo ngayon. Nakakatakot na. So, ano po ang inyong opinion? Let's pray for Amerika, mga sangkay. Especially doon po sa Florida. Na sana magbago po yung ligo ng bagyo, no? Hindi tumama doon, mga sangkay. Kasi, I'm sure, kung may matitira po dong tao, sigurado, hindi po makakaligtas. So, ano po ang inyong opinion? Just comment down below. Mayroon po akong isang YouTube channel, Sangkay Revelation. Mga sangkay, hanapin nyo po ito sa YouTube. Ayan po. Maganda po yung content natin dito na ina-upload. Okay? Hindi kayo maboboard. So, hanapin nyo po ito sa YouTube. Marami kayo matututunan, mga sangkay. Kapag nakita nyo na, i-click nyo po yung subscribe, i-click ang bell, at i-click nyo po yung all. Ako na po yung magpapaalam. Mag-iingat pong lahat. God bless everyone.